Today's story is titled, The Gods Do Not Forgive, by Narrow Director 911. The link to the story is in the description below. Please enjoy. Ma told us gods neither forgive nor forget. We of ignorant young minds took her words for fables, warning tales to make us wash our faces before supper and keep our tongues clean of curses. That night, we would learn she spoke truly. We would learn the hate of an angry god. It started the day of the Green Festival, the day we give thanks to the Ice Mother for giving back the greenery and warmth. That day was still cold, her touch still visible on our breath. I had commented on the chill with the young boy's veracity. "Ice Mother's tits! You can leave now, you old crone!" Ma was old, but still strong enough to drag me by the ear to the wash trough, to dunk my head and wash out my mouth. The foul taste of lye from Ma's soap would last me till moonlight.
"Disrespect the gods not, more so on their day of celebration!"
I did not take her words to heart, too preoccupied on spitting bubbles and planning future punishments towards my younger brother, Tob, who giggled at my misfortune behind Ma's leg. To think what the pursuit towards said punishment would cause, I would rather gladly eat soap for all my day's suppers. Our village nestled far from fields of great battles and fell lord schemes. We heard not the call for levies, nor the jingle of a taxer's purse. We took from the land, and the land took back what it's owed. The festivals appease the gods and spirits, so they may be more generous when it was their turn to take. On this day of celebration, the usual sleepy village would become a whirl of motion. The shepherd would scramble to bring his fattest and most luscious sheep. The brewer would carry barrels of his finest mead, brewed and aged especially for these days. Ma and all the other mothers would decorate with wildflowers and prepare the great feast we would all share at the setting of the sun. She was much too busy to watch her idiot sons. Me and Tob were thought to be bereft of good sense and responsibility to help with the festivities. Tob and I's back end still bore the scars from the brewmaster's lash when 2 kegs of berry meat crashed to the earth and made drink for thirsty worms during last year's celebration. As such, there was naught to do but plan my revenge. I sat up on a hill overlooking the village, idly toying with the hatchet my father left me, Tob sitting close, foolishly forgetting his slight against me. I watched as all the offerings were brought cart by cart into the woods towards the pillar of offering. That is when my wicked plan came to me. "Come, Tob. I have a cure for our idleness." Tob looked at me excitedly. "What have you in mind, brother?" I smiled with devilish intent and bid him to follow. I led him through brush and fern, shadowing the path towards the pillar. He knew to stay quiet, as he thirsted for mischief. Little did he know for whom the mischief would be done. The path wound deep into the trees. Without the benefit of tread ground, we dodged branch and bramble as we forayed onward until our goal lay within sight. I held out my hand to bring us to a hushed halt. Ahead laid the pillar. 2 men tall and carved of gray polished stone. Tales say the script of man and spirits lay on said stone. The crude, blocky runes of our ancestors spelled ancient promises, face scribbles akin more to vines than letters weaved over and through said runes. I attributed such things to our ancestors' artistry. Before the pillar stood the brewer placing his last offering of mead. As he finished his task, he bowed his head and muttered prayer to the Ice Mother. We ducked as he turned to leave with his lightened cart. We dared not move until the trudge of wheels were swallowed by the forest. I stood and made my way to the pillar and stood before the offerings.
For what purpose are we here, brother?
Tob asked warily. He was still young enough to fear the gods.
Well, brother, upon spying the brewmaster, my rump reminded me that we have yet taken payment for said rump slashing.
Tob's eyes narrowed.
And so my idea is thus. We shall take payment from him in the form of drink, that none but the gods and village worms have had a chance to taste.
Tob bounced back as if bitten.
Stealing from said brewmaster would be just, but I shan't take from the gods' offerings.
I knew he would object. However, I knew his heart better than he, and by extension, the key to his conformity. I sighed.
I knew ye for craven, brother. You whimper like a babe barely off the teat. Perhaps my spare time would be better spent with Torek, or any of the like that still have steel in their blood.
Tob stomped forth.
Torek is a knave and a craven. I will show you whose blood runs with steel.
I grinned and motioned towards the offerings. As I had learned festivals past, Tob had little constitution for drink. I would have him inebriated on the forbidden honey wine. The brewmaster would leave not a coin's worth of flesh unscarred on his arse. He stepped towards the keg with fiery purpose, and rolled it out from the circle of tributes. He looked smugly at me as he set it upright before me.
Craven, am I?
I looked upon him with his proud face.
And how are you to taste your pilfered drink?
His face dropped as he saw no spigot upon the keg. He tapped his foot and pondered this new dilemma. I handed him my hatchet.
Here, brother. Splinters ought not spoil the drink. Off with the top.
He took the hatchet with hesitancy. I had never let him lay a finger upon it before. It was my treasure. But for the purpose of vengeance, I would allow its sullying. The lid gave way to Father's hatchet with little resistance, reveling the sweet red ambrosia inside. To my surprise, he made no motion towards cupping said liquid, but plunged his head inside, gulping down full mouthfuls. I did not think I had riled him so, but I was satisfied. This worked towards my mischief. With a gasping breath, he pulled his head out of the crimson elixir, his long hair pelting me with liquid shrapnel.
Gods, brother, 'tis the best thing I've tasted. Drink! Drink before I catch breath to drink anew!
I was tempted, but the smell of it on my breath would ruin laid plans.
Nay, brother, I shall, but not now. I have the need to relieve myself. I will return.
Tob shrugged before returning to his trough. I made for the tree line, then diverted to the path when his eyes could not see me, and sprinted when his ears could not hear me. I was gasping as I ground to a halt before the brewmaster, who was passing out samples of tonight's brew. He spun to me with shock, the shock souring into disdain upon sight of me.
"There be brew aplenty tonight, lad. Leave this round for those whose hands weren't idle."
A gasp out my reply, making sure to weave an air of scandalization and disgust into my words.
Master Brewer! My brother Tob, possessed by a sense of devilry, stole not only from myself, but from you, good sir, and from even the gods. By chance I spied him making way to yon pillar with my pilfered hatchet. With purpose to correct said thievery, I followed him, sir. And what did I spy but him taking drink from your offerings, sir? I came here with speed to tell you, sir.
The brewmaster's face went whiter than frost, along with all others with ears to hear me.
Where is young Tob? Ye did not leave him.
I was confused. The brewmaster was a short-tempered man, and I was used to his look of wrath. He looked upon me like a man afeared, terror dripping from him thicker than honey.
Did you leave him there?
He shouted at me.
He spied me not, sir. I left him so as to report his crimes.
The brewmaster looked to those in attendance, and all as one they made haste towards the pillar. Even freshly winded, I should have been able to keep pace with men of so many winters. But they were fleet of foot, and were out of sight down the trail as I came to the forest path's entrance. I stopped to take in deeper breaths. I remembered being filled with guilt at this time. The brewmaster's face had given me pause. Perhaps the fury he would visit on Tob would be far outbalanced to pay back his joy at my tongue's expense. The taste of lie still coating my mouth banished such thoughts. I hoped I would be able to enjoy the roasted pork I had started to smell cooking. I decided his punishment would be balanced if I could not. I ran down the trail after the vengeful adults so as to bear witness to my brother's punishment, the ever-increasing smell of charring pig fat spurring me faster. I noticed the warmth first. By the midday sun, I had felt the frost on my breath. Now with each step, the ice mother's chill was banished further and further from my bones. The smell of pig roast, which had filled me with hunger, turned as well, sickeningly sweet with a strong smell of iron and heavy smoke, as if the blacksmith had taken to forging sweet cakes. Too strong was the smell to encourage appetite. The forest was alight. Black tendrils of smoke weaved through branches like umbral serpents. Orange light bled through tree cover. The sound of a mighty fire crackled and roared. I quickened my step. Tob, full of drink and mirth, must be the source. Panic lightened my feet towards my brother. Shame strengthened my legs. If harm came to him, I would accept the lash or cane upon reveling my plot of petty vengeance. That is what I thought as I spied the pillar. All thoughts left me as I stepped into mayhem. Red flames blackened bark and shriveled leaves to every tree in sight of the pillar. The offerings given and piled lay shattered and burning in a mighty conflagration. The great pillar still stood, save for a mighty crack that split the stone in two. The vine-like script carved upon said stone turned crimson and pulled themselves from it. I likened them to living veins. They pulsed and reached with blood-red thorny fingers. In the center of this madness was Tob, pinned to the broken pillar by the demonic creepers. Too close to the flames, his skin bubbled with a golden hue, blood and juices spitting from his roasted flesh. His eyes had begun to melt from his sockets. His mouth hung open, carrying his last silent scream. I dropped to my knees and emptied my stomach. To think back on how hunger spurred me forward at the scent of him filled me with horror I still have not reconciled. Animal screams escaped me as I lay curled upon the ground, eyes closed as if to banish the sight from me. So distraught was I that I barely noticed the comforting hand on my back, choking out comforts and apologies, or when said comforting hands picked me up to take me from said sight. I did not see who did this, but they smelt of berry mead. It drowned out the smell of cooking flesh, but I cannot stomach the smell of either evermore. That year was harsh. Crops wilted, wolves raided with impunity, and more died from sickness than ever before. The winter was harsher still, and on into spring. We still gave offerings. We praised the gods and spirits, and I no longer gave reason to have the taste of lie. but it is as Ma told us, the nary forgive nor forget.